Well, something else that's likely on the minds of some of our viewers today is cattle reproduction. Dr. Shelby Rosasco from the University of Wyoming was one of the featured speakers at the Gudmundsen Sandhills Laboratory open house this past summer. Market Journal's Mike Straub is standing by with that story.
When developing young cows for breeding season, nutrition management is extremely important in impacting reproductive longevity in a positive way.
We know that there's a really pretty intricate and strong relationship between nutrition and reproduction, and how we manage those animals from when they're born or even before they're born all the way through their lifetime is going to have an influence on nutritional management. I think we really need to be thinking about how we adapt those animals to that future production environment that we're going to ask them to work in. And we do have some different strategies that we can utilize. It doesn't have to be a one-size-fits-all kind of things. So we can use those different resources that we have available to us to look at developing them out on range, or changing up how we're, or the timing of gain during that development period for those heifers, but making sure we're meeting those requirements and thinking about how nutrition is impacting fertility throughout their life is really important.
In heifers specifically, starting with a low rate of gain and increasing that rate as breeding season becomes closer has proven to increase ovarian function.
What we're seeing in some more recent research and research that I've been working on is that it's really looking at, in our heifers specifically, we know we can put them on kind of a lower rate of gain after weaning and kind of coast them along, and then step that gain up, leading up closer to the breeding season that first year, and that's going to not only positively influence their reproductive performance that first year, but we're actually seeing an increase in ovarian function in those heifers, which we didn't talk about in the presentation, but we're also seeing that translate into a potential increase in their longevity and their performance.
Adapting these young animals into the future production environment they are expected to work in is also important.
I think making sure those cows are prepared for that future environment they're going to be asked to work in is really important. And I think that comes from thinking about that the grazing's a learned behavior, making sure that they are spending some time on range, that we're treating them like we're going to treat them as a cow. I do think sometimes if we baby those heifers too much, not that there's anything wrong with developing heifers in the dry lot, but if we're feeding them at a level they're never going to see again, putting them at a body condition score above what they're ever going to see again, we may be letting some subfertile heifers into the herd. And so thinking about how we adapt those heifers and treat them maybe like we do the rest of our cow herd helps us select those heifers and put pressure on them to perform in that future production environment.
The stair-step approach to development, that is, starting out with a lower rate of gain and increasing that gain as breeding season approaches, has proven to increase microscopic follicles in these young cows, as well as the number of animals calving through 6 calving seasons.
Yeah, so that stair-step model, stair-step is a good name for it because all it basically is thinking about a lower rate of gain post-weaning. So that first half of the development period after we wean those calves, maybe not putting them on a really high plane of nutrition and pushing them. We can kind of coast them along, even if it should be a positive plane of nutrition, but kind of coast them along at a lower rate of gain. And then as we enter that second half of the development period, when we're anywhere from 45 to 90 days out from the breeding season, be thinking about increasing the nutrition, increasing the rate of gain those heifers have to push them towards your desired body weight and condition before the breeding season. We can see that as kind of a flushing effect. So we're having a positive influence on the oocyte or the egg that we're eventually going to ovulate. And then we also see an increase in ovarian function in those animals. So some research I've been working on, we actually see an increase in the number of microscopic follicles in those stair-step heifers compared to heifers on a constant rate of gain. And then we can extrapolate that out in some really interesting research from the USDA Meat Animal Research Center. We see an increase in the number of animals calving through 6 calving seasons in those stair-step developed heifers compared to their constant gain counterparts.
When it's time to prepare a heifer or young cow for breeding, don't overlook nutritional management. Adapting these young animals to their future production environment is a great first step in managing rate of gain, and stair-stepping that rate of gain as breeding season approaches seems to have a positive impact in calving as well as reproductive longevity. Reporting for Market Journal, I'm Mike Straub.